Day 3. The Blanket Blessing. Genesis 12:3. On several occasions, God came and opened the door a little to reveal the plan to restore our relationship with Him. This is the first of these events. And God concludes His promises to Abraham with, "And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." God gives the same promise to Isaac, Genesis 26, verse 4, and then to Jacob, Genesis 28, verse 14. Then Laban declares that he has been blessed because of Jacob's presence, Genesis 30, verse 27. Now pause with me and think about what this means. God has a plan. And this plan from its inception will involve man as a whole, and man as individuals. God will use individuals to bless all of mankind. Let me restate this. Abraham, the man, individual, would be used to bless man, all nations, peoples, and so on. God's plan makes it possible for a man to be a blessing to others. Instead of bringing a curse, as did Adam, God will work in a way that allows a person to be a source of blessing and a blessing. The full promise is given in Genesis 18:18, which states, "Through you and your offspring, all mankind will be blessed." There are two ways to look at this. The first is the most common concept. The blessing would follow a physical line of fulfillment. Abraham's lineage would make possible the birth of the Messiah. The second has a similar line of progression, but does not follow physical human genetics and links. It follows the lineage of faith. In Galatians 3, we have a discussion of this genealogy of faith. Abraham believed God. Those who believe are children of God. Those who have faith are blessed along with Abraham, the man of faith. Christ redeemed us so that the blessing given to Abraham could come to the Gentiles, a blessing that reaches beyond the physical genealogy to all who hear and believe. The blessing would be available to all who, in faith, believe like Abraham. Both are critical to the fulfillment of the promise. So, Abraham received a promise not based on genealogy, but on his faith. He and his faith would be a blessing to all nations. The truth of this would be revealed fully in the birth of the Messiah, the offspring, the fulfillment of the promise that the foundation of the blessing would come from his genealogy. And so the blessing is a blanket that covers all people and lays the foundation for others to be blessed. His faith opened the door for others to believe and to receive the promised blessing. His faith made possible the fulfillment of God's plan. We too are part of this blanket blessing. We are a source of blessing to others. Our faith can open the way for others to know God and believe in Him. The more we learn to live by faith, the greater the blessing will be, the more people that can be touched by the blessing. Unfortunately, we do not think in the same terms that God revealed to Abraham. We do not see ourselves becoming a multitude without number. We do not know how to do the math of God. It is not about how many people with whom we have direct contact. Remember, Abraham only had one son, and the one son only had two sons. Only one of them was selected to continue the promise, and from that one, God raised up a multitude. Being a blanket blessing is not about how many we reach, but how clearly we communicate our faith to the ones God gives us to touch. There are so many stories about one person faithfully serving, yet feeling they have done little to bless others. But because they were faithful, some were touched, and they in turn touched others, and so on, until a multitude are touched. The multitude has little or no idea of where it began, but one person serving faithfully will bless a multitude over time. This is the story of missions. One person serving faithfully, one person laying the foundation, one person sacrificing all so that God, through them, can bless another multitude. This is the promise of Christmas. The focus is on Christ. He makes the blessing function. He supplies the power that enables our faith to be a blessing to the nations. Don't think about who will hear, who will see. Think about how well they will hear and see your faith. God promises that if we are faithful, our faith will bear fruit, sometimes 30-fold, sometimes 50-fold, and sometimes much more. But always with the idea that it will be a blanket blessing that will affect all it touches, whether near or far. whether directly or indirectly. We have been promised that we will be blessed, and like Abraham, become a blessing to many, many others, a blanket blessing for all. We are the proof of Christmas. God has planned to bless us and make each of us a blessing to the nations. What a great gift and pattern for our gifts, the gift that opens the door to blessing.